Alright, we've officially made it to the end of my weekend. We added two movies. They were interesting, to say the least. As each weekend is, since I've confirmed that I'm watching these with my mom, I'm choosing a movie from this year each weekend. She can choose a movie from whenever. And with that being said, ignore the stains on the shirt. I'm going to be changing it tonight. Let's get into it. Alright, so I have a little guy on my lap. I have a little guest. But with Thrash, I'm going to be honest, I mainly picked this one because I'm a sucker for a shark movie. I swear, this really should have been so much fun and such entertaining. It's just dumb fun. If you haven't heard of this movie, basically think 2019's Crawl, but instead of alligators, you got sharks. You got bull sharks. I'm gonna be honest, that sounds a lot more interesting than the movie actually was. It's not that the movie was bad. It wasn't. The actors were doing okay with their characters. The effects on the sharks looked cool. And honestly, it's just not a poorly written or shot film. It is just an incredibly average and mostly boring movie. Which is not something you want to see from a shark movie. Honestly, this really should have been a Minecraft movie from last year, where it gets a high score despite it possibly being bad. Honestly, I'm a little let down. But hey, there are other movies that could wind up being my big disappointment. Honestly, for me, this one was a 5. If you like shark movies as much as me, you might enjoy this better. But honestly, it just didn't work. Alright, so with the Conjuring Last Rites, this movie was definitely better than the third one, which honestly was just kind of bad. Not one of the worst movies in the Conjuring verse, but still just not even average. That being said, I was still kind of hoping Conjuring Last Rites would be better and at least return to what made the franchise work in the first place. However, after watching this, I'm starting to realize the issue may not be on the fault of the people in front of the camera and more the decision to switch James Wan out for Michael Chav. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's a great director. It's just I've seen 3 of his movies and they were all from this verse, and honestly, Last Rites is the best of the 3. and it's not really close. If you don't know what this movie's about, it focuses on the Smurl haunting, which might actually be one of the most disturbing cases of paranormal activity ever. And honestly, this movie's all right. It's fine. It's good. The writing's not gonna be screaming out for awards or even screaming out for people that are looking for a excellent Conjuring movie. But it's good. Honestly, the decision to have the majority of the film split between the Smurl family's case and Ed and Lorraine's daughter Judy's struggle with, spoiler alert, the Annabelle experience still kind of dragged it down a bit. Honestly, 3/4 of the movie have the two stories split. Ignore that, I have a chihuahua. But anyway, that decision really confused me. Honestly, the third act did ramp up the scares, like to a point where it genuinely felt like a Conjuring movie. But again, they take a long time to get there, and it genuinely feels like you put a Conjuring movie in the same film as two other supernatural horror films. It just didn't mesh well together. I will say, if you're looking for a solid horror movie, this will be up your alley. Just temper your expectations if you're a Conjuring fan. Honestly, I have this one at a 7 out of 10, which is a lot better than The Devil Made Me Do It. Alright, so those are my reviews, and honestly, one was a little bit of a letdown, the other was a little bit of a surprise. And I can safely say I was hoping for more consistency, but hey, I found my first movie that gets a relatively low score from this year. Honestly, it could have been better. Frankly, I'm honestly hoping that any movies that I see for the rest of the year are great, or at least good. And that goes especially so for the numerous movies that I plan to see in theaters. Well, anyway, that's the reviews from me. Deadly Destruct here saying, see you later. Say bye, bud.